Hi, everybody. Thank you, Needy. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm so excited for this webinar series and really grateful to be a part of it. So I just want to talk a little bit more about myself. Um, I am a mom, and I have two boys, a 12-year-old son and a 7-year-old son. And way back when, before I was a mom, when I was pregnant with my first son, I would sit in my little New York City kitchen with my husband, and we would give each other pep talks. We would say, like, we can do this, right? Yeah, we can do this. And it can't be as hard as everyone says it is, right? Yeah, it can't be. Because we've gotten so much advice from people, from parents and friends and family, all well meaning. But we were just scared. And of course, I'm guessing, like you, when our son was born, it was just a life changer. Wonderful, but my life turned completely upside down. I was exhausted, I was emotionally tired, and I was just left with this overwhelming feeling that I couldn't really voice, but I knew was, please don't let me screw this up. And um, that just stuck with me. So everything went to the wayside. My health and my relationship with my husband went to the back burner. And we just plowed through and did the best we could. And fast forward 2 years later, we moved to New Jersey. And I was home one day with my son, and he was having a particularly needy day and was being particularly clingy. And I was feeling particularly tired. And we were going down the stairs, and he kept saying, pick me up, pick me up, pick me up. And I kept saying, I can't, my back hurts. And we got down the stairs, and it wasn't that one incident, but that was the moment that I sat down in a chair. I will never forget this and said, I've made a horrible mistake. I should never have become a mom. I am terrible at this. And this poor kid is counting on me, and I am a failure. And it was really hard. And luckily that passed. But I think that was the catalyst that started me on a quest to really look for sustainable ways of parenting and to learn how to take better care of myself and make our family um, happier with less stress and not just try to do it all and plow through. So when my second son was born, I went back to school and became a coach. And when they asked me what I wanted to coach, who I wanted to coach, I like pretty much blurted out like parents, because I knew I wasn't alone in this. And I thought, parents today are so stressed out. We're overwhelmed. We've got so little support. And, a couple years ago, there was much more support for parents, but there really isn't today. And we just want well-adjusted and resilient children. So that's why I work. I work one-on-one with moms or dads, or I work with couples to really get in there, look at what's stressing them out, what's overwhelming them, how they can build stronger families, and really have strong connections in their family. So I'm going to get off the camera, and I'm going to put my presentation on. So give me a second. While we're doing that, if you guys just want to take a deep breath, just a couple deep breaths while we do this transition. So I know you guys took time out of your busy schedules today, and I just wanted you to take a minute to relax, to ground yourselves, to breathe, and just take a moment for you, because I know you probably don't get that opportunity very often. So just take a minute. I think that today's parents just want a little peace. And the reason I spelled it like that, I will get into in a little bit. But I know we don't have a lot of time together today, so I'm going to share as much as I can with you. You're probably here because you're feeling stressed out. Your kids may not be listening or cooperating the way you want them to. You find yourself yelling when you don't want to, or losing your patience. And you really don't want to be doing that. There's got to be a better way, I'm guessing, that you're thinking, and you just want to know what it is. So we're going to talk about stress. We're going to talk about the brain. We're going to talk about parenting challenges. and I'm going to give you some information that can bring more peace and calm into your home. And then I'm going to give you a 5-part tool that you can use today that you can help raise your child's self-esteem, bring your family closer, build your child's emotional intelligence, and offer long-term solutions for their cooperation. We're going to do questions at the end, and you can post them now, but I'll take them at the end. And I promise I'll also offer you some resources at the end so you can go further with this. So challenges. I don't know those kids on the screen, but I can relate to that picture of my bathroom has definitely had its share of floods, and there definitely been a lot of Lego toys that have gone down our drain and clogged it. Have you ever heard the saying, the quickest way for a parent to get a child's attention is to sit down and look comfortable? I think that pretty much sums it up. Parents today are stressed, and we know that. And a moderate amount of stress is normal. It's, goes back to a long time ago when, maybe you were being chased by an animal, and you had to fight or flight syndrome. And, it comes in handy today, even stress, when you need to start a new job or give a presentation or maybe run a marathon. You're going to use your body's ability to create a little extra energy, known as stress, to push you a little bit forward. But after a marathon, you replenish. And as parents, we're not very good at replenishing. I've never run a marathon, so I don't really know much about it, but that's what I hear. I'm going to show you a quote from the American Psychological Association that states that parents feel they are under a great deal of stress. They understand the importance of managing it. However, only 1/3 believe they are doing an excellent or very good job of managing their stress. And while the majority of parents don't think their children are strongly affected by their stress, children report otherwise. So we know we're stressed, we know we're not handling it very well, but we think we're doing it in a vacuum and our kids aren't affected, but they're reporting that they really are. And then kids are stressed out. Things happen on the playground, things happen at school, maybe there's a developmental stage that they're struggling with, and they come home, and that's usually a safe place for them to let their stress out and, take it out on their parents. So you've got this vicious cycle of stress going. It's, affecting our bodies, it can affect our health, and it can affect our brain. So we will talk more about that in a minute. But I really want to mention that you want to be watching your stress as a parent. I tell my clients, you can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself. And I'm sure you've heard the analogy of, when you get on an airplane and they say, put your mask on first and then put the mask on of your child. It's like that. Parenting is like running a marathon. It's not a short sprint. It is a marathon. And even though, the rewards are obviously huge in parenting, sometimes we don't see them on a daily basis. So you really want to take care of yourself for the long run and really watch your stress. Let me talk a little bit about how stress affects your brain. There are 3 areas of the brain. The lower area is your survival area of the brain, a fight or flight, where it regulates your breathing and your heart rate. The middle area is what regulates your emotion, anything like rage or fear or happiness, caring, that's happening in the middle area of your brain. And the higher area of your brain is called the neocortex. That's the largest area of your brain. And that regulates creativity, problem solving, reasoning and reflection. And I bring this up because research has shown that when we're stressed, say when your child is throwing a tantrum or there's an emotionally charged moment, or if you're a parent and you're stressed out, this higher area of the brain shuts down and the other areas become stimulated. So that's why under stressful situations at home, you can get triggered and it just adds to the conflict and the stress. No one's really thinking clearly at those times. So in these moments, you really need a way to regulate and calm yourself as the parent in the situation. And that way you're going to model that for your child. So with clients, I look for sensory tools that you can use, like breathing or other sensory tools, just so you can calm yourself down in the moment and not act out of a place of stress and actually act out of a place where you're thinking more clearly. So today I challenge you to start noticing how your logical, rational brain shuts down when you're triggered by your child, if that happens. And just keep an eye on that and see how that goes. This leads us into talking about how parenting affects our stress and relationship with our children. We talk about, in my work, a traditional or older model of parenting, which we call the dominant paradigm for parenting. And it's basically how most of us were parented, right? Do as I say, not as I do model, the parent's the boss, and it's like controlling your child, controlling over the child. We don't use it as much today, but it was passed down to us. So we do have seeds of that in our parenting. And we also sort of are going, well, if we don't do it that way, how do we do it? And dominant parenting includes the use of punishment, consequences, timeouts, bribing, any way that you can control your child in a situation. And that's really just leading to stress for both you and the child. It's just additional stress in your life. And not only that, we know it's affecting the brain, it's also affecting your child's personality development. It can affect their brain development. And of course, it's going to affect their relationship with you. So what I teach is a more peaceful parenting method based on partnership, on family values, communication, support, and basically less stress for everybody. It's not permissive parenting. It's, basically you're setting limits and just working as a team as opposed to being in a more dominant style. And so there is a tool that I teach that I'm going to teach you guys right now it's called the peace process, and it's really a 5-part tool. So the peace process. Each letter in peace stands for one of the steps of the process. This was developed at the Jai Institute in California. You can use it starting today, and it really helps, so you can use it instead of using consequences or punishments. It's going to bring your family together. It's going to raise your child's self-esteem. It's going to list long-term communication, cooperation with your child. And really, you're passing down a legacy of peace and cooperation and kindness to your child that they're going to pass on and they're going to pass on. And that's sort of what I'm all about, is just really raising healthy humans and, going forward in that way. So the P in the peace process stands for pay attention. So for example, your toddler's been at daycare all day, he's hungry, you're on the phone, and you're not paying attention to him, and he's acting out in some way. So you're just really paying attention to the situation that's happening. You're taking the time to look around and see what's going on. You're not judging the situation, you're just paying attention. The second step in the peace process is E, for every child's feelings and needs. You want to be aware of what your child might be feeling or needing in every situation. Now, there are so many feelings that a child could be feeling and so many needs they could be having. But I'm going to give you 6 that are the main feelings that we look for, just generally. We call them the 5 A's and a C. So the first one is acceptance, attention, affection, appreciation, autonomy, and the C is connection. I'll go over that one more time. It's acceptance, attention, affection, appreciation, autonomy, and connection. So you want to get down on their level. You want to look them in the eye and just simply ask them, when this happened, when you saw this, when you heard this, when this happened to you, did you feel something because you're needing something else? So I wonder if you're feeling blank because you're needing blank. Now, I know if you have younger children, you may need to lead the discussion, or you may need to be more aware than actually communicating with them. But this is basically looking for what they're feeling and needing in a situation. The A in the peace process is allow yourself self-empathy. This is so important for parents, and it's so easy to overlook this step. You really want to be honest with how you're feeling in a situation. So this really sucks, or I'm so angry, or I wish I could get in my car and leave. You're not going to tell your child that, but you're really going to let yourself feel it without judgment. And it's important not to judge it, because you really want to let the feeling process in a non-judgmental way. If you judge it, there's going to be energy there that's going to be reflected in how you react in the situation. So it's just really allowing yourself to acknowledge how you're really feeling. The C in the peace process is care with empathy. So really just showing your child that you understand where they're coming from. This is a core part of what we teach, just giving empathy to your child, validating what they're feeling. It's such a good bonding experience for you and your family. So often I see on the playground very well-meaning parents, when their child falls off the swing, running over and saying, "Oh, it's okay, you're not hurt, you're fine." And I know that's coming from the best place, but it's also not validating the child's experience. So really just being with your child, "Oh, that looked like it really hurt." "Yeah, it did." And just letting them learn to feel what they really feel. And, that's going to teach them really well how, their emotional intelligence. The E in the peace process is explore a solution. So sometimes all you need is that empathy, and that's your solution. Just really validating what the child is feeling. 9 times out of 10, that's going to be the solution. But maybe there's something else that needs to happen. Maybe there's a problem that needs to be solved, or a conflict that you're having. So you really want to work together as a team. And so often as parents, we are in the jump in and fix it mode. But you really want to step back and parent with your child in these situations and not parent over them. So I'm going to tell you a simple story about how this worked for me in my home. My younger son came home one day a while ago and threw himself on the couch and basically barked out, "Get me a glass of water." And so using the peace process as a model, I basically paid attention. So I knew he was tired. I knew he was thirsty, and I knew he seemed like he was in a bad mood. And so I using the E, I checked out, were those his feelings? Yeah, those were pretty obviously his feelings. The A, allow myself self-empathy, what I really wanted to say was, "How dare you speak to me that way?" But I stopped myself because I knew that would just inflame the situation. And I was able to I could take a step back and say, "Okay, that's what I'm really feeling." And because I gave myself a minute, I gave myself that space, I came up with this crazy idea. And so I started talking to my son really loud in this fake loud voice saying, "Is it time to speak loudly? Is it speaking loudly time? Are we speaking loudly now?" And my older son thought this was hilarious. So he jumped right in and he said, "Oh, Mom, it must be speaking loudly time." And the two of us just started cracking up. And my younger son looked at us from the couch like we were crazy. And we had two heads. But eventually, the three of us were just laughing hysterically. And it completely changed the energy of the situation. And so was able to talk to him. We were able to talk. I could give him empathy about what he was feeling. He could speak to me in a calmer way. And, the solution was pretty obvious. He just really needed something to drink, so we took care of that. But it was just, I wanted to show you this really simple way that using the peace process really took the stress and the volatility out of a situation. So I want to open up for questions. And the other thing I want to do, because I would so like to talk to each and every one of you and, find out what's going on with you personally and what your struggles are. And I will answer questions, but what I want to offer you is a complimentary session. So if there's something private you want to talk to me about, or you want some more help with the peace process, or how you can take it further, you can sign up on this link. It's http://tinyurl.com/BP session. That's tinyurl.com/BP session. That's a link directly to my calendar, so you can sign up on your own to a 30-minute session with me. And also, I'm putting up my information so that if you need to reach me, if you can't use the calendar or you just want to talk to me, there's my information. I also want to put up the Momagama information too if you need to reach out to me for anything.